As the name would suggest, the Timex Weekender has been seen as the go-to weekend watch for many years now. It's attractive, low cost, comes in 2 sizes, as well as a huge variety of colours. While it's a fun throw-on piece, it also has some infamous downsides. The most obvious of which is that eardrum-busting ticking noise. Good luck getting to sleep when this is within a 1 kilometre radius. While the movement is likely the main culprit, the case probably doesn't help. The pore seal used only permits the watch a 3-bar splash resistance. The material itself is also questionable, as chromed brass wears out faster than stainless steel and is more susceptible to corrosion over time. If only you could pay extra to eliminate those downsides. We'd be onto a winner, right? Hello? Really? Go on then, what's it called? Okay, one sec. Yeah, I must have missed that one. Looks promising. Yeah, I know I said the Galley S1 looked promising too, but I'm not planning on roasting you again. Depends how bad the watch is. Hey, you do know I'm filming this right now? Thank you. Wait a minute. How did you get my number? Well, it turns out Timex has read my mind. Late last year, they released a bunch of interesting field watches under the Expedition North banner. On the surface, these seem to essentially be upgraded versions of the cheaper Weekender and Expedition watches that have been around for some time now. I was pretty intrigued by this, so I pulled the trigger on 2 of these Field Post watches, both of which are linked in the video description. One is the 38mm mechanical, and the second is the 36mm solar, which also comes in a 41mm variant. Is it worth stumping up the extra cash to grab one of these, or are they an unnecessary waste of money? Well, I do know that our sponsor WatchCrunch is about as good value as it gets. Free access to a community of like-minded watch lovers? Sign me up. Oh wait, I already have. If you're looking to share your thoughts or questions with no fear of getting roasted, or sniped for that matter, then WatchCrunch is the place to be. Not only can you join discussions about the latest releases, but you can venture down the rabbit hole to discover pieces you never knew existed. Recently, I've been using WatchCrunch to research the best watch straps, with the hope of upgrading some of my old ones. The modern layout and clever search functions have made this process a breeze, and I've quickly racked up a bunch of suggestions, as well as a variety of perspectives to consider. You can also jump to your favourite topics using the hashtags feature, which not only includes your favourite brands, but also a dedicated vintage section if you're feeling bold. I've just made a post about both of these Timex watches and their design history. You can join the conversation by using the link to WatchCrunch in the video description. Okay, I'm going to start with the mechanical because that's the one I was most interested in beforehand. Mainly because loads of you suggested it in my Hamilton vs Bulova video as a viable budget alternative to that Hamilton khaki. On the surface, it does appear to be a khaki clone, with an identical colour scheme, a similar dial, and a comparably finished case. When the two are side by side, the resemblance is undeniable. Surprisingly, even the vintage version of this Hamilton lacks originality, or should I say, exclusivity, as it shared many characteristics with numerous other standardized military watches of the period. That being said, Hamilton was one of the very first contracted manufacturers of these timepieces several decades before Timex dipped its toes into this aesthetic, so the khaki deserves the kudos here. Mind you, it's not an exact one-for-one clone. The Field Post Mechanical has a raised chapter ring and somewhat of a hybrid modern look, with a more outspread arrangement, slimmer text, and a brighter white backdrop. The second hand is also a different shape, though you'll notice that all 3 hands fall disappointingly short of their markers. You won't be so disappointed with some of the upgrades that Timex has implemented, such as the inclusion of a sapphire crystal and a sturdy coin-edged rear that accommodates a 100-meter water resistance rating, double that of the Hamilton. It was marketed as being a durable watch, and overall, it certainly gives that impression. The Field Post Mechanical also ships in a vibrant blue colourway if you prefer to step away from the faux vintage trappings. While it may have an identical width to the khaki, along with a bigger dial thanks to the skinnier bezel, the Field Post actually wears somewhat smaller due to the shorter lug-to-lug length and steep curvature that better conforms to thin wrists. Unfortunately, the incredible slimness isn't quite carried over, as the unmarked Chinese movement inside is not the slimmest, and the chunky caseback adds an extra couple of millimeters too. It's still under 11mm in total, but won't pair as well with a pass-through strap. As with many Timex movements, there's no trustworthy information about this caliber online, but here's a look under the hood in case you're feeling nosy. Perhaps some of you out there recognize this one. It wouldn't surprise me if it's the same as that used in the MK1 mechanical, which you might be hearing about later. You can see the accuracy on screen right now in case it's a crapper. There's no doubt that this mechanical is a composite watch, though in hindsight, I should have been more excited by its sister, the Field Post Solar. This watch comes in both 36mm and 41mm forms, with each retailing for around £50 less than the mechanical version. At around 150 quid, it's probably worth holding out for a discount code, which will probably be a matter of minutes for the Timex. But even so, this watch just feels like it puts all of the parts of the wristwatch jigsaw together in just the right way, like a true premium alternative to that low-cost Expedition and Weekender. Several aspects are the same as the mechanical, such as the full steel construction, the 100-meter water resistance rating, and the AR-coated sapphire crystal. However, this version doesn't feel quite as bloated, as if the fat has been trimmed in all the right areas. Both of the Solars have handsets that stretch the full radius of the dial, along with screwed crowns for added security. The tick of the solar-powered movement used here is thankfully far quieter than those used in the cheaper field watches from this brand, and will be cost-effective to operate in the long run, as well as environmentally friendly, of course. In fact, Timex has put a lot of weight on the whole sustainability thing in the marketing of this Expedition North range, with the straps also being pitched as eco-friendly. I can't comment on the fabric straps, but these leather bands, reportedly manufactured using 0% water and fewer chemicals, are pretty good in terms of performance, with thick but supple construction and some natural graining that is appreciated on a stock strap. You'll notice some visible wear emerging on the edges, but the underlayer is at least brown, so it won't hugely impair the viability of these. Quick release tabs are present on both too, removing the need for drilled lugs. All in all, they're not half bad. All of the colorways that this Solar variant ships in are rather unique for the field watch genre, with most offering dark, understated looks that make for cool, modernized alternatives to the plethora of vintage-style options already in existence. These look great paired with a variety of casual outfits and could easily double up as a rugged companion if required. Basically, it seems that Timex has accomplished what rival brand Casio couldn't. For years, I and many other Casio fans have been willing to pay more for an upgraded version of their popular digitals with modern materials and hopefully improved performance. Alas, it's 2022 and they still haven't delivered. And no, those half-baked A1000s don't count. Timex, though, seems to have given us multiple options. Whoa, wait a minute. Feels like I'm having a flashback.
Déjà vu.
I remember now. Timex launched a different 36mm field watch back in mid-2020. That one was called the MK1 Mechanical, so how does it compare to these two? At £170, this watch is priced between the two, but is harder to come by. That price tag only gets you a domed acrylic crystal and half the water resistance. But I have to say, this thing is beautiful. It's lightweight, slim, and has a charming mid-century look that's been executed with even more precision. From the moment I unboxed it, I realized I'd been sleeping on this for way too long, as it's much sweeter than those subpar stock images indicate. The chapter ring is a particular highlight with the tiny green lume pips and minuscule minute track that hugs the outer edge. The size and shape of the case, everything just feels bob on. Unfortunately, it's not available in any larger sizes, so it could look a bit cartoonish on big wrists. So most of these Timexes are probably worth your money, but unfortunately a few weeks ago, the same company dropped the ball big time. Tap the video on screen to see how they sold me a £400 watch with a giant hole in it, and then ignored my pleas for help.